The parents of disabled people have all too often been dealt the harshest hands in life. How distressing then to find out the care homes looking after some of those in greatest need cannot always be trusted. Responding to contacts from viewers, our investigations editor Daniel has uncovered allegations of basic neglect by staff working for a major private care business. His boss earns the best part of £1 million a year, mainly from local council and NHS contracts. Yet, as we are about to see, one young man was filmed on a hidden camera eating out of a waste bin with no carer in sight.
Every Monday, Connor comes home for breakfast.
Nice, your mum making breakfast for you?
She's trying to.
She's trying to.
And Lindsay holds her son a little closer these days.
He's a mummy's boy, aren't you?
Connor is 23. He has bipolar, autism, and learning disabilities. He lives in a residential home where he needs one-on-one 24-hour care. But last year, his mum began to suspect he was being neglected.
We could tell something was off. He would abscond, saying he didn't want to go back. He's almost 20 stone now. And he probably went in at around 13, 14 stone.
So Lindsay installed a camera in his room. Within days, the camera captures Connor eating out of a bin in the middle of the night with no carer in sight. He was eating from it for almost an hour.
I felt sick to my stomach. He is one-to-one care for a reason. That's my child. The staff should be there looking after him.
And yet day after day, his carers are seen fast asleep at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 9 o'clock at night. At times, Connor has to wake them up. Others are seen ignoring him completely as he tries to talk to them, before turning off the light and having a sleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Lifeways is charging the council £4,700 a week for Connor's care.
They'd mock him, they'd vape next to him, shouting in his face. He can't help having to live there, and I don't want him to have to live there, but he has to. I actually thought I could die happy. I don't know if that sounds silly, but I knew he'd be okay. But now I just think if anything happened to me, like, what's going to happen to him?
Lifeways is the UK's largest provider of supported living for adults with learning disabilities, caring for around 4,000 people.
Lifeways is a private company, but it makes much of its money through taxpayer-funded care contracts with local councils in England, Scotland and Wales. According to its latest financial records, last year its revenue rose to £295 million.
But we've spoken to multiple families who say their loved ones have been seriously neglected by Lifeways, including Stephen in North London.
This is my room.
He has Down syndrome and lives in this home staffed by 24-hour carers. He previously spent 8 years living in a Lifeways home.
I'll make it stronger.
But his 80-year-old dad, John, removed him after visiting his son and found his left foot had turned black, rotting, and left totally untreated.
I was absolutely shocked, and I called the hospital staff, and they were shocked as well. It looked like he could lose a foot. At Lifeways, nobody had thought to remark on it.
And Stephen is grateful to no longer be there.
I don't like it.
You didn't like Lifeways?
No. It's not nice, you know.
I'm aware of things that are going on in there. It's just absolutely horrendous.
This former care home manager is one of several previous and current Lifeways employees who've spoken to ITV News about a lack of basic training and unsafe staffing levels, below what Lifeways were being paid to provide.
How often would you describe the staffing levels as dangerous?
I'll say every weekend at least.
Really?
Yes, because every weekend, no matter what, you get in so much trouble if you book the agency. They don't care about their safety or their well-being as long as that money comes in, because if it was reaching us, we would have been able to give a much better quality of life.
And I hate the fact that I left, just because I feel like I can't protect them like I used to.
We put the findings of our investigation to the chief executive of Lifeways.
To hear about anybody who receives neglectful care or lack of care, I think it is absolutely shameful. As soon as we were alerted to them, we suspended people and they were subsequently dismissed and they're not in the company. We deliver 3 million care hours a year with 10,000 employees. Thankfully, this is rare.
In terms of where the money is going, 4 directors of Lifeways received £1.65 million last year. The highest paid director, which I assume is you as the chief executive, had a package of £923,000. So there is money knocking around here.
I think that I'm paid in accordance with my peers in the sector and my male predecessor.
You have members of staff on minimum wage working 16 hours, and yet your directors are on £1.65 million. Have you maybe looked at that and see, well, it might be if we pay our staff a bit more and pay ourselves a bit less, there might be a bit of a solution there.
I wish that commissioning was that simple, Dan, but unfortunately it's much more complex than that.
In what sense?
We're contracted to deliver care in the way that we are.
Families forced to watch those they love most treated with such little care by the people paid to provide it, and how many others are not able to speak up.
Daniel, those cases you highlighted are frankly shocking. Is this just an isolated few cases, or does this point to a wider issue?
I think it's hard to know, Gamal. The very nature of the story means a lot of the people we're talking about here often can't speak up for themselves. People we've spoken to are fortunate they have advocates, they have parents that can speak up for them. That's not always the case. There's also the issue with the Care Quality Commission, which is the regulator of this sector, is not in a good place at the moment at all. There's huge backlogs of inspections. There's a backlog of dealing with complaints from families and also from whistleblowers. There's also a wider problem here, which Connor's story, I think, paints pretty accurately. Right now, tonight, despite everything that's happened, Connor is still in that care home. He's still under the care of Lifeways. Why? Because there's a lack of choice here. Lindsay wants to remove her son, understandably, from that care home and from that company. The council who pay the £5,000 a week for his care would quite like to remove him as well, try and find him somewhere else. But there isn't a choice here.